The next day, upon returning from work, I noticed a roll of tape on the kitchen table with a folded piece of notebook paper sitting on top of it. Hubby pointed it out and told me to check it out. I unfolded the piece of paper to be greeted with the following message. Dear neighbors, I noticed the bumper of your car had a crack on it that I was afraid could worsen and catch on the road, causing further damage. I have heard that adhesive tape, such as Gorilla Tape, can be helpful with temporarily repairing this kind of damage. That's what I was trying to tell you the other day when you were leaving your house. I am just a 75-year-old woman trying to be friendly. However, you've made it clear that my friendship is unwanted. I will be sure not to speak to either of you when I see you outside again. Dearly, Sheila. It's a little aggressive. I just stared at the note for a few minutes, thinking, what the heck? How did this one encounter where my husband stated he had to be somewhere, obviously rushing with kids in tow, lead to this passive-aggressive, hot mess of a note? My first instinct was anger. I wanted to retaliate and write a hateful note back.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make a sign in my yard with something passive-aggressive aimed at her. I wanted to holler something at her the next time I saw her outside. However, I decided that the best course of action was to do nothing. I knew that if I retaliated, it would just make her feel justified in her actions. But if I did nothing, then she would have to awkwardly sit with her own choices and life decisions. So I have pretended like nothing has happened. If I see her outside, I will politely smile. There has been a time or two when she specifically says hi to my dog, meaning she will literally say, hi, insert dog name here. Again, I'll politely smile and move on, but trust me, if she attempts to engage me in conversation, I will be the first to point out that she said she wasn't going to speak to us. I'll be petty mayonnaise if the opportunity presents itself. Oh my God. So that's the story of my local Karen experience. Who knows what the future holds for upcoming encounters with this entitled neighbor? Postscript commentary by the author. I'd like to acknowledge that I can certainly see both perspectives when reflecting on this encounter. While this neighbor is an older single woman who is likely lonely, she is also active, frequently outside with her dog, and I frequently see her interacting with other neighbors or personal visitors. All of this to say, it's not like she is so lonely and lacking interpersonal connection that we were her only lifetime to this type of engagement. Now let's reflect on the other aspect of this situation. I don't owe anyone social engagement simply because they approach me. This doesn't mean that it must be a rude or disrespectful encounter. However, it is completely appropriate not to have social discourse with someone simply because they initiate it. Does someone else owe me their time? In most circumstances, the answer is no. Do I owe someone friendship because they live within my proximity? Also, no. I did not choose my housing based on my neighbors. If that were the case, I would have moved next door to my best friend. In conclusion, I think it's helpful for people to reflect on their social expectations of others. Next time you feel miffed because someone was brief with you, consider that they may have other things to do, other folks to talk to, or they may just simply not want to visit with you. And while that may hurt our feelings initially, I think it's helpful to recognize that boundaries are appropriate and permissible. Also, we kept the gorilla tape. So,
That's
that's the
funny.
middle-aged menace